Hello everyone, my name is David Nichols and I'm a technical sales specialist here at Autodesk. And today we're going to be looking at Bim360 Coordinate and its role with Navisworks. Let's set the scene as it is today. According to a recent study, PlanGrid and FMI completed, construction coordination should provide continuity from planning to engineering, resolving issues quickly and ensuring the contractor is accountable to the client. But delays in getting the latest information in the field results in more RFIs and less accurate work. And design changes, errors, and emissions as a group are a major cause of rework in construction. Multiple teams and disciplines working on each phase of a single construction project, designers, contractors, owners, subs, and consultants. Information is not easily or efficiently passed on from design to pre-con, from pre-con to construction, and then shared amongst the subcontractors and the consultant. The right software can provide a single cloud-based repository for all project documentation, making real-time communication and document exchange possible between all project stakeholders. With a system like Bim360, documents and communication can be managed in one centralized place, making it easy for designers and trades to continuously be in the loop with the general contractor and get the work done right the first time. More than 55% of rework claims are due to inaccurate field data. When workers are out in the field with outdated plans, at best, they'll waste their time going back and forth from the trailer to get the latest revisions. At worst, they'll perform the work based on the outdated drawings. The results? Rework. Software should provide a single source of truth that can be accessed in real time directly from the field. This eliminates time-consuming trips to the trailer and ensure everyone has the latest and greatest information, markups, RFI responses, and issue resolution. The handoff between teams with siloed data technology leads to the drop of information at each of these transition points. Wasted time and rework trying to backtrack and find the missing information. Team doesn't have the abilities to predict project outcomes, and tracking historical project data is just something that's not currently practiced much in the field. Coordination is often viewed as a specialized activity, with the BIM manager and the virtual designer and construction team serving as a single point of contact for the design and trades team. This results in a very time-consuming process for the trades who have to constantly work to keep the BIM coordination team apprised with all the design changes or additions. When the coordination is a specialized activity, all coordination runs through that VDC or BIM manager team, causing delays and often not allowing all coordination issues to be caught before the construction begins. Symptoms of a specialized coordination process could include coordination meetings consisting of representatives from all discipline, where a large amount of these meetings are dedicated to reviewing all identified clashes, FTP sites or equivalent cloud-based systems being used to collect models from each discipline, a need for every discipline to have a license of Navisworks in order to aggregate the model data, and of course delays between model uploads and availability of clash results, lengthening the coordination process. Think about what impact that could have on your project if fabrication level detailers, designers, and project engineers participated in the coordination process as part of their day-to-day activity, and dependence on the BIM and VDC specialists for coordination was lessened. The role of the general contractor and the BIM and VDC experts can become one of facilitation, troubleshooting, preemptive problem solving, and identifying trends. The process of coordinating a project is mind-numbing, and it's an infuriating task that has to be done because typically it's in the contract and typically no one's doing it. So the contractor steps up to the plate and takes the responsibility and the process on and wants to make it move as quickly and as efficiently as possible. What we see on the PowerPoint slide right now is the current coordination process for many individual projects. You start off with a design team and subcontractors uploading models to a specific FTP site or equivalent. The BIM coordinator downloads those files, usually directly onto their desktop, and then appends them into Navisworks and creates certain selection sets. BIM coordinators create clash matches, run clash reviews, review those clashes, create clash groups and certain viewpoints as well, and post those consolidated models for the team to view. BIM coordinators create priority reports, usually done on Excel or Word, to be reviewed in the coordination meetings, and these are very time-consuming reports as well. BIM coordinators then host a meeting to review the clashes and assign team clashes to resolve. So this is normally the clash detection process. Team reviews, makes the reviews, uploads the model, and then it's off to the next step. Usually this process is done several times before the BIM coordinator and the team signs off on the full coordinated files. And the final files are shared out with the team for the field to use. And usually that offers in a medium that's not totally accessible out in the field either. These are the struggles the VDC and BIM manager live daily. The issues can be divided into two primary categories. Collaboration being the first. Information bottleneck. The entire team is waiting after the VDC manager to tell them what to do or what to move. From there, a BIM manager doesn't want to be managing clashes 24/7. They should be more focused on making the schedule deadlines and worrying about the major clashes than worrying about a specific cable tray interfering with a specific pipe. The subcontractor and the rest of the team really should be doing that already. The overlong meetings. That whole process we just reviewed takes time. The report specifically can take a long time. Going into these meetings, sometimes with 20 clashes which must be resolved, and then leaving with only 6 done at the end of a 2-hour meeting, prompting for a second meeting to clean up the rest, is a huge time impact. Having transparency into the model viewing process is important. As an HVAC sub, knowing when the fire protection sub last updated his model, what revision, and who uploaded it, that's critical information that the team needs so that they can be on the same page. And that leads to the lack of centralized information. Transparency into project information. We talk about a single source of truth a lot and how it can increase collaboration, provide the ability to look up the conclusion for an RFI, for example, giving the capability of these individuals, these subcontractors, to have that ability, and instead of waiting on a specific call or an email back from the person that's designated to provide that information. Issue management is the second category. Assigning clashes and issue resolution. These first two come hand in hand here because having the ability to proactively assign clashes to a specific individual, role, or company to address and resolve clashes would be a huge game changer. Having a streamlined way of resolving these issues while maintaining clear transparency and centralized communication is key. Resolution to these clashes is what's going to prevent rework out in the field, and those issues are related to coordination which happen on site. Reporting. The current state for many construction projects is that these clash reports are done on Excel or Word and being sent off to the project manager to review and evaluate. A lot of information falls between the cracks in these reports. Let me give you an example. If you prioritize a critical clash, smaller ones sometimes get passed through too quickly and doesn't capture the full cost or schedule impact if this resulting happens on site. Visibility and transparency through this whole process is huge. Too many subcontractors are siloed in their own individual Navisworks bubble and come to these coordination meetings several revisions behind and sometimes not even up to date on the newest process. Getting everyone on the same page, working on the same page, and collaborating off this one medium is going to smooth out the whole process. Accountability ties in nicely with visibility. Peer pressure is honestly surprisingly effective. Allowing visibility into the other subcontractors are up-to-date, their current up-to-date model, collaborating and resolving issues is going to promote more of this type of behavior. Having the ability to attach a name to an issue is as clear and concise as it gets. So how do we resolve these problems? How do we get that ideal workflow? Well, there's 4 key points to that. How are we going to do that? The automated clash detection. Simply by uploading your model into the Bim360 platform, your models are instantly clash checked. No need to create search sets or create manual clash tests. Clashes are shown in a clear and concise clash matrix where you can compare and contrast them. Be proactive as opposed to reactive. Get the subcontractor involved in the coordination process more intimately. Eliminate the information bottleneck. Cut down on meetings by continuously managing clashes and tracking models passively through the platform, and provide visibility to the team. Issue management workflow. Industry-leading issue management workflows, Bim360 has an extremely robust platform that has the ability to tie clash detection issues to a location on a model. Also assign specific individuals or roles or companies, and track all the communication and documentation within the issue itself. So of course, there might be some solutions that could offer you something similar, but ask yourself this: where does the data go after the coordination process is complete? Well, I'll tell you, it'll be siloed within that platform, not easily accessible as the project continues. Our issue management platform spans through the entire life cycle of the project, from design to coordination to construction and even facilities management. Having that information centralized with the rest of the construction process is going to benefit you greatly. Of course, document management is going to be a key component. It's going to be the foundation of a project. Replace those siloed FTP sites or equivalent cloud-based solutions with a centralized document management which ties all phases of construction together. Start collecting rich data early on so that you can actually you could use that for the field use. And then, of course, saving as an NWF. I want to spend a bit of extra time on this because this is a huge game changer. Everything can be saved as an NWF, no matter what solution you're working in, whether it's Coordinate or Navisworks. The files that are changed in either location are remembered inside the NWF file. So if I make a color coding change in a Navisworks file, it is remembered and reflected in the NWF file on Coordinate. New views created in Coordinate are reflected in Navisworks. It's bidirectional, and it increases the amount of work efficiency. Now, it's very clear and concise that Navisworks is the industry standard for managing clashes. But model coordination is a different workflow. It's a different process. But now we have the ability to actually combine these two to create a superior solution. Our Bim360 Coordinate and Navisworks integration is a cloud-hosted model from Bim360, which can be opened directly in Navisworks, enabling you to refine your results further with clearance, tolerances, and other rule-based clash tests created in Navisworks. Issues assigned out in Bim360 can be responded to directly in Navisworks and save back to Bim360, creating transparency really for the full team. Let's take a deeper dive at Bim360 Coordinate and what it can offer you. So of course, before jumping into the platform itself, I would like to highlight some key capabilities of the platform noted in this graphic. Automated clash detection. Automatically view clash detections between models. Easily review clashes without waiting for coordination meetings. And of course, filter and group these clashes. Mark clashes as not an issue if there's no further action required. Democratizing coordination. Cloud-based storage for integrated teams. Easily grant views based on permissions and roles. Filter and run specific clashes by trades. Set up multiple coordination spaces that allow for both private and shared spaces. Model aggregation. Create saved views or selection sets of models within the view's capability. Automatically filter clashes and target specific subsets of the project. Approval process. Review and annotate models. Integrate approvals and multi-step group review workflows. Send notifications out to the team and respond to markups. Conduct constructability reviews on the job site or in the office. And of course, reporting and dashboarding. Having the capability of viewing those high-level metrics and dashboards available in real time for the project management is going to be a huge advantage. And of course, combine that with our issue reporting capabilities, and you got the full circle. Comparison. Merge models in the cloud to collaborate and coordinate with project stakeholders. Filter models by user or discipline, and easily view or hide elements of merged models. Provide access to 50+ file formats out in the field on their iPads. So I just want to pause there. That's a huge impact. Giving the capability of everything done in the model coordination of model sets out in the field is going to provide such transparency, such an increase of morale and information out in the field that honestly never usually makes it out to the field. And finally, version control. Ensure the whole team has access to the most and latest up-to-date drawings and easily run clash detections as models are updated. The Bim360 Cloud Coordinate is a cloud-based BIM solution and collaboration software that streamlines the BIM project review and coordination workflows. With anywhere, anytime access to the most recent project models and data throughout the project lifecycle, Bim360 Coordinates accelerates the project review and empowers multidisciplinary teams to quickly identify and resolve coordination issues. So we're going to switch paces here and actually jump over to a real demo. So as you can see right here, we're on our project home screen. I'm in a specific project, the SME Con Center project. I usually like to start my Bim360 demos in here because on our home page, it's really curated and customizable to what's important to me in my current role and my current phase of construction. So this home page is actually populated with a series of player cards. So as you can see here, it basically provides you high-level metrics related to a number of different issues, depending on the phase or what's of importance to you. So currently, I curated my page here to provide me information regarding my coordination issue statuses. So I'm able to see the outstanding issues and what their status is as far as if they've been answered or if they're still open. We have other metrics such as coordination issues by companies. Maybe I want to identify the individual subcontractors or consultants that I'm working with and visualize how their issues are actually being coordinated. And then, of course, coordination issues active versus closed. We want to see over time, how are we doing? Are we closing more issues than we're creating? Having the ability to make sure that all these issues are resolved in the pre-construction phase, so this way we won't have this problem when we go to the field. Of course, there's a number of different player cards that can be adjusted and imported into the screen. If you're particularly interested in the RFI functionality, that information could be clearly demonstrated right here on the home page, so you can have full visibility of that and track that appropriately. So of course, as I mentioned, this page is completely customizable. I brought up ones that are specifically for Coordinate, but one thing that's important to note about Bim360 is that it's not going to silo your data. It has the capability of storing all project information, and we're going to actually be able to see that when we jump into the menu option over here. So you're going to see there's quite a bit of modules here that all intercommunicate with one another. For this demo, we're going to be focusing primarily on the model coordination portion. But it's important to keep in mind that all this information ties back to one centralized foundation, if you will, and that's our document management, and that's exactly where we're going to start off. In our document management portion here, this is where we can have that dynamic folder structure to allow specific subcontractors, consultants, the ability to deposit and work off a single source of truth, a replacement for that FTP site. Having the ability to, instead of being stored on several different cloud-based solutions, bringing into one platform, provide access and dynamic folder structure so that these subcontractors or consultants could drop their files and start collaborating directly within the platform. Hypothetically, I could jump into this model coordination folder I have here and actually assign robust permissioning capabilities. So hypothetically, if I wanted to involve maybe more a subcontractor group or a specific role or a specific user, I have the capability of adding them and providing them a robust list of different permissionings, everything from just viewing all the way up to full folder control. But the real key about this is having the ability to allow these individuals access to not only view this information, but participate in this process. In the model coordination phase, something as simple as just simply being able to drop your documentation directly in the platform is going to be a huge advantage, because now you also have the capability of working all off of one centralized platform. The document management portion here is tightly connected to the model coordination. Simply by creating coordination spaces, you could pull information directly from your replacement FTP site or cloud-based solution over here in our document management directly over to the model coordination. The real advantage of that is that whenever any revision is created or any new upload is created, it's all going to be brought in automatically into the model coordination tab here, so you can start visualizing that information and start working with it. As mentioned, a single source of truth is going to be vital in this portion. So having the ability to see all that information and visualize any kind of information or changes that happen within the system is going to be a huge advantage. On this page here, we could see all those models that are brought in directly from our coordination spaces. But it takes it a step further by actually showing us who uploaded that information and when was the upload date, really providing clear visibility and accountability as far as these different models are concerned, because now I know when my HVAC individual or my fire protection subcontractor uploaded this model and who was the last person that updated, providing me that visibility and clairvoyance. Over here in our clashes tab, we have a very clear and concise matrix showcasing the different clash detections between the models. As you noted on the previous screen, there was 6 models imported directly within the platform. What we see here is a 6x6 matrix with the diagonal being 100% interference. But really, the idea behind this page is a very clear and concise way where you could just kind of keep track of the different coordination issues that are currently active on our project. So we could see here that if we're merging this 3D plumbing model with this MEP model set, we have 336 active clashes. What does that mean, active clashes? These are clashes that have not been addressed yet. As we start to address these different clashes, this number is going to reduce, and we're going to be able to keep track of all the different issues within our assigned or on our home page or in our centralized issues tab on our document management. But really the idea is that all that information is clear, concise, and you have a high level metrics to provide you all that information. In this case, let's run through an example. Let's jump through right here and jump into this 3D model of plumbing and our MEP set. Simply by clicking into it, it's actually going to aggregate both those models directly within my browser. Now, this is a huge advantage because I'm not downloading this onto my platform, opening Navisworks and combining them. I'm doing this on a cloud-based solution directly in my Chrome browser right now. So as this model is loading in, it's important to keep in mind that in this case, I just merged two models together. I, of course, have the capability of adding multiple and creating saved views so that I can come back and visit it at any point. In this case, we're going to jump through with just this set here. So as you can see, I have the capability of navigating through this model. We could see on our left that we're currently in the Clashes tab. From here, we have the ability to view our primary model, the one that's going to be on the center stage, and which ones that are they actually clashing with. Down below, we're going to be able to get a list of all the different clashes that are associated with this specific model sets. Of course, there's quite a bit here, and they're all organized depending on how you actually want to see them. So of course, we have them organized by object types right now. What if I actually click into one of these clashes? I have the capability of jumping into these different categories, grouped by object, and clicking on an individual clash. And what's actually going to happen in this case is it's going to zoom up specifically where this clash is to give us a clear visualization of what's the problem. Now, it might not be obvious at first, but in this specific example, you could definitely tell right away that this is a clash, and it's a clash that's not intended. So if this was something simple like maybe a concrete hanger in concrete that's not really an issue, or potentially a field fit solution, I might address this as not an issue. But in this case, this is clearly an issue and needs to be addressed, particularly by our plumbing individuals. I have the ability to come in here and create an issue on the spot. Now, the real advantage of this is that when I click onto this, it's going to provide me the capability of clicking specifically on a location. So I'm going to come in here, click directly on the part itself, and as you can see, it's automatically going to populate some of that critical information that I want to share out. So not only do we tie an issue directly to a model, but we're going to take it a step further by assigning it to a specific individual, or a role, or a company, or a group. In this case, I'm just going to assign it to myself. But as you can see, when they're on the project, when they're collaborating on the project, you could assign these out specifically to the plumbing or MEP individual to actually make that repair, re-upload the model. So it creates a specific workflow, and this is our robust issue management platform. What is assigning an issue or a task without attaching a due date? So you have the capability of actually driving in here and assigning a specific due date for this work to be completed. Of course, there's a number of other categories and information you could fill out on this specific issue, this page, along with even custom attributes. So some information is actually pulled automatically, such as the description here, based on the metadata pulled in from the models. But hypothetically, I can add my own custom attributes here for priority list, or cost implications, or schedule impact. All this information is completely customizable down here, so you can have that information relevant to what's important to you and your company. Once you create this issue, it's actually going to reduce it from the total amount of clashes. So over here, we can see we had 430 previously. Now we're down to 429. So this is an addressed clash. So once this clash is addressed, it's going to send a notification out to that specific individual you assign this out to so that they know there's a specific workflow that's being asked from them. Now, the real advantage to that is that that information is now clear and concise. They know exactly what's the issue, where it is, and what needs to be done, because you could write those instructions directly in the description. Move pipe over 3 feet, anything of the sort. So of course, where does that information live? Well, it's actually going to live directly in your document management. So those individuals that get pinged are going to be notified of a specific issue assigned to them, and they'll see that in notification directly on their home screen under maybe if they have the issues on as a player card. Or again, they'll also be able to navigate directly into the Issues tab here and visualize that information head-on. So what does that actually mean? Well, here's my example in particular. This is the one I just created. So we can see it currently has that. It actually attaches a screenshot directly in there. It brings all that critical information brought over from the platform. So everything from who was it assigned to, when was the due date, any specific information, and even links the model directly in here. So if I want a clear and concise image of where this is, I can jump directly in the model and see exactly where that information is. Of course, scrolling down, it's going to bring over all that information that is the custom attributes. We could visualize any kind of attachment, include any attachments in case if it's submittals, anything that's relevant RFIs, that information can be dropped right over here. And then, of course, we have the Activities tab. Now, the Activities tab is something particularly interesting because it ties in a lot of the communication that's normally done through a third party. Something that maybe goes through email or a phone call or a text can actually be tracked and centralized directly on here. I could come in here and actually ping a specific individual. I'm going to ping myself in this case, and I'll have the ability to actually notify them, let them know something, have a conversation or communication centralized within the issue itself, as opposed to a series of emails and notifications. So again, really advantageous in centralizing that information and also keeping all the metrics and information, the metadata, the changes directly back here. So what does that look like from the subcontractor or consultant side? He gets a notification regarding this issue. He could come in, see all this rich information that's provided in this issue portion, re-upload the model, and address this as answered. Now, what's going to happen here is that it's going to notify the individual once it's been, they can even ping you on here. But the idea is that that model is going to automatically be fed back to the model coordination so that they could revisit this issue and consider this issue answered. Once that issue is answered, of course, you could create a specific workflow where that owner, the individual, the BIM manager, the VDC manager could come back in and close this out once it has been approved. What's the beauty of that is that all that information is kept still within the platform. So even when you get to the construction process and this issue might come up on site, you have the visibility to actually jump back into that information and be able to view and analyze it and show that you did your due diligence in that process. With the Navisworks plugin, you have the capability of linking this issue capability directly back to the model. Issues created in Bim360, as I did right here, could communicate back to Navisworks with a simple refresh in a plugin to pull that information in, and you even have the capability of creating issues out in Navisworks to communicate back to Bim360, really communicating efficiently and having a specific workflow in mind when you're creating that process. I'd like to thank you for your time today. And of course, if there's any issues or any questions, feel free to reach out to me and we'll have that conversation.